In Santa Fe, New Mexico, there's a chapel with a secret. The story goes that when a group of nuns needed a staircase, God sent the best carpenter he knew, Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus. What he built is known as the Miraculous Staircase. Finished in 1878, it's a twisting spiral that seems to hang in midair, with no visible support. Builders and scientists have studied it for years, but still can't explain it. Was it a miracle? A masterpiece? Or something else entirely? Let's talk about it. This is the Parsonage Files.
Welcome to the Parsonage Files. Meet Dale, a retired church custodian with a voice made for storytelling. He brings us wild and curious tales from the Bible, church history, and everyday life. Then, brothers Rick and Rob Burke jump in to unpack each story. Around here, we prove one thing: faith is anything but boring.
You know, Rick and Rob, I've been around churches a long time. When you spend that much time sweeping floors, fixing doors, and climbing up ladders, you pick up more than just dust. You pick up stories. Some people collect baseball cards or coins. I guess I've collected church tales. And the one I've got for you today is one of my favorites. It's the story of the Miraculous Staircase. To tell it, we've got to head west to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Desert air, wide blue skies, and right in the middle of town, there's the Loretto Chapel. Built in 1878. From the outside, it's lovely. But inside, it holds one of the strangest mysteries you'll ever hear. The idea for the chapel came from Archbishop Jean-Baptiste Lamy. He wanted Santa Fe to look a little more like Europe, so he brought in two French architects, Antoine Mouly and his son. Yes, believe it or not, Projectus. Now, I've heard some unusual names, but that one takes the cake. Sounds like something out of a math book, or maybe a superhero comic. Still, odd name or not, he was a gifted designer. Together, father and son built a chapel that was truly remarkable. Gothic Revival style, sandstone walls carved out of the local earth, and stained glass windows that traveled an unbelievable distance. They went from Paris to New Orleans by ship, up the Mississippi by steamboat, and finally, all the way across the Santa Fe Trail in a wagon. By the time those windows got there, they'd seen more of the world than most people ever would. But then tragedy struck. Antoine's health failed, and he had to return to France. Soon after, Projectus died, some say in a shooting. Just like that, both architects were gone. That's when the Sisters of Loretto discovered a problem. The choir loft, beautiful, 22 feet above the ground, had no staircase. None at all. And the space below was too small for a normal stairway. Carpenters came in, took a look, and one after another said the same thing. "Sorry, sisters, can't be done." It seemed the Moulys had planned to come back and fix it, but now the sisters were stuck with a loft they could see, but never use. So what did they do? They prayed. For 9 straight days they prayed a novena, asking God for help. Day after day their voices rose up in hope. And then, here's where the story takes a turn, on the 9th day, a man showed up. Nobody knew his name. He came with a donkey and a small toolbox. He didn't ask questions. He didn't make conversation. He just went inside the chapel, set down his tools, and went to work. Sort of reminds you of the beginning of a Clint Eastwood Western, doesn't it? For months, this unknown stranger worked alone. No crew, no help. Just simple hand tools and steady hands. And when he finished, the staircase was complete. And the man? Gone. No bill, no thanks, no goodbye. The staircase itself was stunning. A perfect spiral, 2 full turns, no central pole, no nails, only wooden pegs, 33 steps in all. And that number made people stop and think. Jesus was 33 when he died. In Freemasonry, 33 is the highest degree, the sign of wisdom. Was the staircase more than wood and skill? Was it a message? Engineers came later and studied it. Their conclusion? By all rights, it shouldn't work. It acts like a giant spring, holding weight it shouldn't be able to carry. And yet, after more than a century, it still stands. Some say it was a miracle. Others point to a man named François-Jean Rocha, Frenchy to the locals. He was a quiet carpenter in Santa Fe, known for his skill. Historian Mary Jean Cook even found records showing the sisters paid $150 for lumber right around that time. Was it him? Maybe. But if so, he built something that still leaves people speechless. So what do you think? Was it a saint? A symbol? Or just the work of a man whose genius was almost forgotten? As for me, I've fixed plenty of creaky steps and sticky doors over the years, but none of my work has ever ended up on unsolved mysteries. Closest I got was a thank you pie from Mrs. Jenkins after I patched her pew. Whether you see the Loretto staircase as a miracle, a mystery, or just a masterpiece of carpentry, it still has the power to lift not just people's feet, but their hearts. And maybe that's what makes it miraculous. That's all I got today. Back to you guys.
All right. Thanks, Dale. You have the best stories.
And the best coffee. That dude can make some coffee.
I got to tell you, church custodians are some of the best people around. Big shout out to Mark there at Groveport UMC. Does a great job for us. So I don't know a huge amount about the Loretto Chapel. Really, most of what I know, other than obviously what we just heard from Dale there, comes from the episode on Unsolved Mysteries back when
we were kids.
Back when we were kids.
Robert Stack, yeah.
Yeah. And and
I saw something the other day on the History Channel that was that The Unexplained?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with
the Shat.
Yes. William Shatner.
William Shatner, the Shat.
But yeah, I think personally it's more of a blend of faith and tourism.
Okay, that's a fair way of looking at it.
I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
I mean,
I think you can do both.
You can definitely do both. And to me, it's an current economic asset for Santa Fe. Well,
okay, so
let's back up.
So, all right. So, my question:
Yes,
the whole miraculous part of this, where did that come from? Do we know? Did that come from
the nuns?
From the nuns.
The nuns. Almost immediately. The fact that people have gone back and looked, and there was a payment for wood to perhaps the best carpenter in the territory at the time, about the same time. One would
little interesting.
Little interesting. Nothing wrong with that.
No. You know, the way I look at some of this stuff, there's a long tradition of Christians making money off of so-called miracles.
I was just going to say that. Doesn't every church have some?
If you go to Europe, like half the churches have some part of a saint.
Right. Right. Every church has some part of some saint.
And some churches, like 3 different churches have the, index finger of a particular saint, let's say.
3 of them have the cross that pierces Christ's side.
Oh yeah. I was watching something the other day and it was more like 20 different churches or something have, the real cross or what
So,
have
so
you.
I'm not like hung up necessarily on the fact that was it a miracle did Joseph come down from heaven and build the staircase? I would lean to the side of no, but that doesn't mean it's not a miracle in my book.
No,
Because at least the way I interpret it, I did not go to seminary, so this could be a completely non-authorized view. So just put that disclaimer out. But in the world that I live in, I've never seen any type of bam flash of light and a miracle happen. But I have seen things happen in sequences that the odds of them happening that way to get to the result that was needed were random but really low odds. And so that would be the same way with this. This is a miracle because they had a problem. They were able to find somebody in the area to take care of the problem. They were praying, and I mean, I don't doubt the power of the prayer. That's not what I'm doubting. What I'm doubting is that the power of the prayer resulted in Joseph turning up.
yeah,
It seems more likely that it resulted in them being able to get into contact with
a
a
qualified,
woodworker to build the staircase.
right?
From my research on this, it's not that the staircase is impossible to build.
Yeah,
Some legends have it that it's no way humanity could build this. You know how things go. That's not the case. There are a few other examples in the world of staircases built like this. There are just not many of them because they're unstable. From what I've understood is the staircase there in Loretto bounces like a spring
yeah.
when you walk on it. And when it was built, it doesn't have railings. You look at it now in pictures of it, there's railings on it, which is what you expect.
Oh yeah,
So this little death trap of a slinky was built, so you'd go up it bounce. There's no railings to keep a nun from flying right off the edge, so that the nuns would like literally go up on their hands and knees
because they were afraid.
because they were afraid of being
So
flung off.
what you're saying is it wasn't particularly
It
practical.
wasn't practical, but it did solve the problem they had. Was there was no way to get a staircase into that small area without blocking the VIP section of the chapel. So the VIP section could still look or view everything.
Now that's a part of the story that never gets highlighted.
That it was the VIP section that they didn't want
They
to
just
block.
say that the steps couldn't be put in, and they make it
Well,
sound
they
like,
could put steps in. They could put steps in because they could put steps.
but it would block the rich people.
It would block the VIP section, and they didn't build that chapel and import all that stuff for nuts. so they needed to keep that.
Hey, you know what? As a
Yeah.
pastor of a local church, I got to tell you, finances are a consideration.
Is there a
and-
VIP section in your church?
Every section's a VIP.
Every section's
section.
a VIP section.
Yeah,
I guess.
absolutely.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
So no, it's it solved the problem. Now the solution to the problem was springy, and so that's what they got, and that's why this again the staircase isn't average by any means. Is it a miracle that someone that knew how to build such a staircase was within the area and could do it for them? I would say so. I mean, I'm not great on history of New Mexico, but I'm assuming it wasn't. Was it still a territory? Maybe
At that time, I would say, yeah, because I want to say New Mexico, without doing any research, I would say New Mexico probably became a state in the early 20th century. I would assume so. So I would assume it was a territory. But even if it was a state, it would have been so far out.
What are the odds?
Yeah, especially since most of that stuff's coming from the East Coast, not from like California.
And so before we go to my next point, I do have a point, which often people don't think I have.
Sometimes I wonder.
Most people wonder.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the everyday miracle, which to me just seems like an everyday miracle? And so going back to the episode that we had done before on the church that blew up.
Yeah.
Another case of it wasn't, for those that didn't hear that, the choir did not turn up at the church. The whole choir, for various and sundry reasons, none of them turned up on time, and none of them were injured when the church had a gas explosion.
Yeah.
And the reason for that would be the same rationale I would use for this, is that the miracles happen in our everyday lives through random occurrences, but we often don't notice those random occurrences because we're expecting the lightning bolt.
Yeah.
An archangel with a flaming sword.
God, I think, works miracles by using you and I to do his work. And oftentimes that work is ordinary, or what we would consider ordinary.
It's ordinary, yeah.
Yeah. Someone's praying, because they are lonely, and you go and visit them, right? It isn't like somebody just popped out of nowhere, a friend popped out of the ether. God uses us to work his miracles. And so it is easy for us to overlook that. So could this be a miracle? Absolutely. Now, being from the Protestant side of Christianity, the idea that God would send Joseph, the father of Jesus, who is a saint in the Roman Catholic tradition, to work on a staircase seems a little bit foreign to us.
Right.
But I think even as Protestants, we can see the idea that God would send somebody to help them as being a possible reality, right?
So it's just ordinary events with extraordinary timing.
I kind of like that. Yeah. Miracles can be ordinary events. I'll let you preach this week. Yeah,
He actually doesn't often, like, again never seen anything where everything I've witnessed of God, he works through people and circumstances and not by suspending the natural laws.
Correct. Now, if you read the miracles of, like, let's say Jesus, that's not necessarily true. But I think today, for the most part, God works through the ordinary processes of this world to help bring about his kingdom.
And doesn't it a lot of perception of the person seeing the miracle happen, right?
Yeah.
For the sisters, their faith journey, they saw Joseph. This is Joseph, the incarnation of Joseph.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be something that they
as
made
opposed
up.
to, like, if I saw it, and from my perception, would be this is just random coincidences or God working in miracles through normal processes.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
So I guess we're gonna for the first mystery of it, was it built by Joseph mysteriously?
I'm going to say no.
I'm gonna say no.
I got to go with it was built by a local guy who was pretty handy with tools.
So we've come to the conclusion it is not made by Joseph.
Correct. I am going with Frenchie, the local handyman, carpenter who saw a need and stepped out in faith, since he didn't charge him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a tremendous gift.
And a good Catholic would do that, right?
Just any good
good
Christian
person would do that.
A good person would do that. So that's what I would go with.
So we got that part knocked out.
Yeah.
What about some of the other mysteries or supposed mysteries that surround this?
All right. What are some of those?
33.
Yes.
That number plays a role in a couple of the different strange oddities that go along with this staircase.
Now, the number 33, the first thing I think of would be the age Jesus was when he was crucified.
And that's exactly where this is going.
Okay.
There are 33 steps in the staircase. That's often been interpreted as being based on Jesus's life. And as you walk up each step in the staircase getting higher, you go through your journey of becoming a Christian.
Oh,
When you
okay.
get to the top, it helps you become elevated.
Okay. So, makes sense. And even from, like, a Wesleyan perspective of your continually growing in holiness, makes perfect sense. And being in a church. Yeah. Okay.
And apparently, now I'm not a Mason, but apparently in the Masonic world, 33 there's 33 degrees to enlightenment, and the top level is a 33rd degree. So the thought would be this was a staircase was built by a Mason, and then that opens up that whole Pandora.
So was Frenchie a Mason? Do we know that?
I do not know that. I'm not sure. They heavily lean on the idea that he is. Some people that
who study this thing.
And of course, then you open up the whole Masonic conspiracy theory world that we live in. So pretty much anything goes once you start bringing in the Masons.
Right. Which, can I just say, my experience with the Masons,
right?
They're supposed to be, like, controlling the world, right? every time I've ever done a funeral, with the Masonic aspect to it, or anything, God love them, but they're all, about, I don't know, 80 years old, and they're just nice people.
Don't seem like the type that take over the world.
They do not seem like the type that are taking over the world, that are controlling.
And if they do, what's the worst that's going to happen? We're going to have pancake breakfast every morning.
Right. It's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, really? These are the people who are taking over the world? The amicable older guys in the funny hats who drive the little cars in the parades and stuff.
Oh, this is. I mean, not on the subject for here, but
yeah,
I want the world to know I want those little cars at my funeral.
That can be
to
arranged.
lead the hearse, just zipping around in front of it. Oh my good heavens, that'd be awesome.
Although maybe I could get clowns instead. They might work a little cheaper than the Masons.
You do you know. I mean, if it's my funeral, I'm not gonna. I don't really have much to say about it.
Well, I've told you what I wanted to do at my funeral, right?
Maybe
I want to have a buffet around the casket
to attract mourners. Yeah.
That's what I want to do. But anyway, back on track.
Back to it. So we have the 33, Jesus' age. It's a staircase to enlightenment. 33 and masonry.
Yep.
And then the staircase's shape itself. It's actually technically a double helix, which
like the
DNA is.
Yeah.
And so the thought would be that it's representative of some type of biological. It never. I've heard multiple people say that it looks like DNA, but then never really extrapolate how, why, what we're supposed to get from that.
Well, if you really think about it, even what's that curly kind of pasta called?
Oh, the super yummy one.
That holds all the sauce.
Yeah.
Well, you could say that
holds butter. Yeah.
You could say that looks like DNA too, right? I mean, any sort of spiral. So
maybe it's just a natural shape in the world that's good for.
Let me guess. You got that from the History Channel.
Shockingly, yes. Shockingly.
The home of the
Anunnaki. Looks like.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the Anunnaki are running the History Channel.
The home of that.
Not that we're
information-filled ancient aliens.
What? That's not a documentary series?
Can I tell you? Over the years, I've had so many people want me to preach a sermon on ancient aliens. I mean, I am not kidding you.
You get Giorgio Sukios here.
I've said this before.
You couldn't get his hair in the sanctuary.
Way more people have asked me to do that than have ever asked me to preach a sermon on any of the controversial topics of our day.
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
And I'm putting you on the spot, preacher boy. So
okay, go for it.
Is it so? Something's not created to have any type of really spiritual meaning to it. However, a person sees it and discerns some type of meaningful symbolism from it.
Correct.
That's kind of a post hoc interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Is that? It doesn't make it any less valid.
No,
right?
Absolutely not. No,
if you get meaning from a really pretty stained glass window or the light fixture from, Lowe's that we hung up.
Absolutely. You can, you can get inspiration and you can find glimpses of God in everything.
Isn't and again, disclaimer, didn't go to seminary. Don't listen to me, people, but can't a mysterious space where faith and imagination kind of all come together?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not wrong.
No, it's not wrong.
When you go to church on a Sunday, you get that feels.
I think it's important that we have those spaces in our lives where we can touch the miraculous, right? Because we live in such a.
That's what cathedrals are all about.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. That's exactly what a cathedral was about. Creating a space where people can experience the majesty of God, and in our very mechanically driven world, we kind of have gotten away from sacred spaces. So, sacred spaces are important, and we can glean glimpses of God from all types of things. And
I mean, now the thought just popped in my head. We could glean the fact that there is a human is able to do some type of majestic building
Right.
project is
Absolutely.
a gift from God, is a miracle in itself.
Absolutely. You can find God in
Human skill
absolutely
is-
everything. If
Human
you just
skill is from God.
so there's a thing called a prayer walk. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Heard of it.
Where you just walk around your community and you pray that God will open your eyes to see the needs of the community, to see where he's at work, where he wants to work, and what you can do to help make God's dreams come true. And then you just quietly walk through your community. I've done it several times with groups of parishioners, and it's amazing how you can see God. You can find God in like school playgrounds. And you can spot one kid helping another, let's say.
Or giving them a wedgie.
Well, you're looking for God.
I'm not saying from experience.
Or you can find God in nature, But some of that requires you, or most of it all requires you to pay attention, which we don't do a good job here in the 21st century of paying attention.
You say that as I'm looking at my notes on a
Yeah,
tablet, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So you definitely can find God in the ordinary. Absolutely.
So to sum up, I'm assuming just because this is more of a folklore or an embellished story than history, in my view, so you can obviously do whatever you want. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hold theological value to people.
Exactly. Exactly. Stories, Jesus told stories, parables,
Correct.
and you can gain a lot from a story. So is it a great story? Yeah. If I was ever out that way, would I visit? Absolutely.
And everyone loves a good story.
Everybody loves a good story. And is it a way for the church and the community to make money? Yeah, possibly. But is it also a way that people can grow in their faith? Yeah, absolutely. So, neat story. I like fun stories that have happy endings, and you can still go and touch what people are talking about.
Do I see a road trip in your future?
Well, if I'm ever going to the desert,
You never know.
I'll make a stop in Loretto Chapel. Is in Santa Fe, right?
It is in Santa Fe. I knew you were on the radio I saw the blank look. You're like, Loretto,
Texas.
No,
No, it's not in Texas. You're in, yeah. All right. Santa Fe. We'll have to pay a visit.
Santa Fe, we're on the way.
Santa Fe, we're on the way. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Parsonage Files. For my brother Rob and for our retired custodian friend Dale, I'm Rick Burke. And if you are looking for a church home, I would invite you to stop and see us at Groveport UMC. Our website is there on the bottom of the screen. So take care. God bless. And remember, God loves you more than you can imagine. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Parsonage Files. Join us again as we explore the fun side of faith.